Good afternoon, my fellow traders. Today, as part of our live trading sessions, we're going to be looking at the NASDAQ, one of the most volatile assets of the day, very much because of the upcoming earnings data from NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA is the second most influential stock at the moment for the NASDAQ. A lot of experts also believe it's going to drive a lot of volatility, not only on NVIDIA stocks, which has been the best performing stock of 2023 and also 2024 so far, but it's likely to create a lot of volatility throughout the whole of the NASDAQ components. Now, if we're looking at the NASDAQ here on our charts, we can very clearly see that the NASDAQ is trying to gain momentum, even though over the past 24 hours it's been mainly trading sideways. Each time there's a large impulse wave, it tends to correct. But we're very close to a key area on the NASDAQ. Now, if we look at the NASDAQ, we can see we're trading between the 75-bar exponential moving average and also the 100-bar simple moving average. So we're in an area in that trading cloud where we're at a neutral level. Now, if we're looking at the RSI is only slightly above the neutral level. We're currently at almost the 53 mark. Now, if we continue to gain momentum, we can see we have a breakout level here. Now, this is a very key breakout level because if we break out above this level, we are officially onto a higher high because this is the most recent high. We will be onto a higher high. And it also means we are very close to forming an official trend because we've already had two higher lows and we're about to get a breakout onto a higher high. Now, if we do break above that, we're also going to be very close to breaking above our trend line as well. So that is an indication that we've got bullish momentum, that there's bullish sentiment towards the price, and that potentially buyers are gaining control of the NASDAQ. Now, depending on our methodology and our trading approach, individuals after the breakout, if the breakout occurs, can potentially look at a short-term, a medium-term, or a slightly longer-term target. So for example, here we can see a target and a potential take profit level at 0.15%. Now, individuals that want to hold on for slightly longer but still keep within the day, then of course they may aim for the second target, which is at 0.40%. Alternatively, people want to keep their trade open for 24 hours, which of course they will incur a swap fee. Then of course they can aim for slightly further away take profit. So we can see a take profit here, which is also very close to the most recent resistant level. Of course, individuals can also opt to scale in and scale out as well. So for example, have one trade with a target here, a second trade with a target at this level, and of course, a third trade with a target at this resistance level. Now, the volatility, ladies and gentlemen, is massively going to be based on NVIDIA's quarterly earnings report. The quarterly earnings report will be released as soon as the US trading session closes, so it will be released tonight, and I will share what is expected with NVIDIA's earnings. So if we look at NVIDIA stocks is currently priced at $128 US. If you look at yesterday's trading session, it increased by 1.46%. If we look at today's pre-market trading, because of course the US session hasn't yet opened, if we look at the pre-market trading, we can see it's almost trading 0.5% up already before the US market has even opened, of course. Now, if we look at what is expected from the quarterly earnings reports, we can see that earnings per share is expected to rise by 8 cents. And if we look at revenue is also expected to rise by more than $3 billion US. And if we look at the earnings data over the past 3 quarters, we can see over the past 3 quarters, we have consecutively beat both earnings expectations and revenue expectations. So of course, if they again for a 4th consecutive time beat earnings and revenue expectations, it can be something extremely negative for the Nasdaq, because of course the Nasdaq is one of the most the Nvidia is one of the most influential stocks for the Nasdaq. Now, if we're looking at the market so far, if we look at the global stock market, we can see the DAX is trading 0.5% up already. The Nikkei 225 is also trading higher, and if we look at other US indices, they are again also trading higher as well. European and Asian indices are trading higher. Another positive factor is the fact that the VIX is declining. The VIX is currently almost 1% lower today. And if we look at US bond yields, the 10-year US bond yields, we can see that they have also declined. Now, these are, of course, all positive factors for the NASDAQ. But at the moment, what we're looking for is for the signal. So you can see here, we have a signal. If we break above this level, this orange line here, then we've got a potential signal indicating upward price movements. And we have three potential take profits that you can take into consideration. But if we see negative earnings data from Nvidia, because of course nothing is impossible, it is potentially possible, then of course we can take into consideration negative price movement. If we are going to take into consideration negative price movement, then of course we can look at two alternative trades where signals will be. If we decline below this red line here, the first red line which I have just entered, we will be trading below both the trend line and the price sentiment line. So that's a potential trade that we can look at. An alternative signal is, of course, this area here is where we will break onto a lower low. Now, before we end today's session, very quickly, I want to show you a 5-minute time frame. Here, if we look at the 5-minute time frame, we can see we're currently looking at convergence on the RSI, which we can see here. We're trading above our trend line. The latest crossover, ladies and gentlemen, is also a bullish crossover. The only thing we need to be cautious about is, of course, here we can see we're currently trading at the resistant level. So, of course, we want to be cautious about that. But over the next 24 hours, the main driver will, of course, be Nvidia's earnings data. And if they beat expectations or if they're unable to do so, that's going to be a very key price driver. So here we've looked at two potential signals and potential take profit options that you can take into consideration. We've also confirmed what's going to be the main price driver. So let's look over the next 24 hours to see how the market develops. In the meantime, goodbye.